The food, the whole time I was in Africa was up here in terms of the fruits and the vegetables, and I had never tasted anything that tasted like that. My first goal was just to produce some food, for myself and my family, and then that grew into let me see how to make that sustainable, sell a little bit, and then 10 years later, I'm still doing it.
My grandparents started farming way before I was born, and then my father started farming. He was a longshoreman, and he farmed in the daytime, worked at night. And then we decided after they passed away to continue farming. So we're like third generational farmers.
When I was looking for locally grown flowers for my wedding, I couldn't find any. There wasn't any cut flower or farmer. There were no flower growers here, which I found really surprising given that this area has like a really strong agricultural history.
Hampton being the place where the first enslaved Africans were brought, because of their their agricultural expertise. And so it definitely has a historical meaning of being a black farmer in Hampton Roads.
The first Africans in America arrived right here. They came from the kingdom of Ndongo in what is present-day Angola.
We were really brought here, because of our agricultural expertise, and it's very important, to the origin story of America, because had it not been for those settlers planting tobacco and making that into an important, revenue stream, they wouldn't have lasted here. They wouldn't have survived. We played a very important, role in that. And then just seeing how it kind of changed us, being exploited and that sort of thing. It kind of ripped us away from something that was a part of us, for thousands upon thousands of years.
In Virginia, it's very few of us left. We spend a lot of time more finding each other and then helping each other out. Whereas if it was a whole lot different situation, everybody's there together, we're spread out. We're so spread out. Parents had children. They said, grow up, I want you to go to college. They went away and went to college. They came back, they didn't want to farm, so they eventually sold the property to someone else.
It matters because it's this essence, I believe, especially as, African descendants. It really is the basic, basic building blocks, of life, knowing how to provide for yourself. Having access to things that keep you healthy, and then so many other things that come with being connected to the land.
Being disconnected definitely has made things manifest in us, like different diseases and things that a lot of us are, suffering from.
We are creating something here that symbolically reaches back across the water so that people understand where we came from and how far we still have to go.
I think over time, we were bound to kind of get back to our true essence. And like you say, it's becoming trendy, but it's like, I think it's something that's going to stay because it's, it's coming from inside. People are feeling it and answering that internal calling. The bubble got popped and it's like, whoa, and you realize how vulnerable you were in a lot of families, relying on like SNAP and EBT for, a good amount of their just things that they need every day. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna need to get a garden in the backyard. People, call me and stuff and ask all the time for advice, on how can they get started. Earlier this week, I got a chance to go back to my alma mater, Hampton High School. They have a Zen garden, at the school that they've been trying to revive. And that was one thing, like when I saw, I was like, this is kind of cool. How can we help, meaning the farmers, how can we help, just help them build the infrastructure they need.
Farming can be such a solitary activity, and then being a Black farmer on top of it, maybe in areas where there are not a lot of people like you. I really wanted to have a space where we could have fellowship, where we could, discuss things that might be affecting us specifically, that might not be affecting other groups. I estimate there are something maybe 100 Black flower farmers in the United States altogether, which is a very teeny tiny, it's a very small group. We got our first grant this year, so I am really happy about that. I get to, give people money to help with their professional development, to help them implement new systems on their farm, to do whatever it is that they need to keep going, because we know that historically and to this day, Black farmers can be disadvantaged. And so it's fantastic to be able to have that resource where we have people with lots of experience, but also now the money that we can help, people continue to do the work that they love.
We can be resilient and self-sufficient. I know now, especially during uncertain times, people feel vulnerable. They might feel afraid about their future and not having that control. Having access to land and being able to feed yourself is power.
I like to say that flowers are the medium, not the message. The message for me is community and sustainability.
We love what we do as farmers, and we do it with a certain amount of pride, because that's how our parents did it and our grandparents did it.